If you haven't yet heard about a new channel breaking down NBA coaching, allow me to introduce you to Awful Coaching. Warning, you might want to turn your volume down a little.
Why are we giving up 2-on-1s? I feel like I live in North Korea. Doesn't matter because Evan Mobley's gambling. Look at Tim Hardaway. How are you not in that gap? That's coaching. I'm the only YouTube channel, all of them, B-Ball Breakdown. We live in North Korea. Every single day, we are in North Korea. One scissity ding! I'm on an island by myself. Cavs coaching staff needs to walk to Boston. FX! Is this a sick joke? Joe, your hand slides your feet. We live in North Korea with this stuff. I am so sick of it! Hands the screen!
Without any further ado,
Hi.
There he is.
Hi.
There he is.
Thank you for having me.
Your shirt is on. I'm glad that you're not topless right now.
Yeah.
Now the shirt's off.
Yeah. So I don't know if you want to talk about the game at all. I thought it was. I mean, you saw in Game 4. I mean, so Dallas scored over 100 points in one of the 5 games, and in Game 4, they relentlessly attacked Al Horford, Xavier Tillman, and Sam Hauser. Relentlessly, and they scored 61 points in the first half, and that was their best offensive game. How in this game you exploded on the Celtics with that? How in this game in the first 5 minutes, the game was over in 5 minutes. They scored 2 points in 5 minutes. They don't run offense. They don't run offense. They're just isolation. And again, why is Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic not being put in the best possible situation? Matchup. Why is Al Horford not being thrown and screened? And then the other thing, they did attack Porzingis when he came in the game. They did attack Porzingis, but it was always pick and pop. Why can't it ever be pick and roll? You saw when the Timberwolves, they were running drop coverage with Porzingis. You saw when the Timberwolves were running drop coverage with Gobert and Towns and whoever, and they were getting lobs off of that. Why?
Mm-hmm. So I brought this up earlier where it was like we broke down exactly what was working, or even not even last game, like over the entire series. And then you start, the whole first quarter. I got to check the pace really quickly to see if it comes up yet, but they didn't push the pace like they did, and then they didn't run those actions. So do you think, AC, that it's the defense that takes them out of running specific sets that they should be running?
Well, I mean, they were in half-court offense. It wasn't like that. It was, I have no idea. I don't understand what they do on film. And then, I mean, defensively, I'm going to do a video breakdown later. I don't have the film with me. I mean, they're botching switches. You're switching everything. How are you botching switches? First, I think 6 of the first 11 Celtics points were just Luka Doncic in the middle of nowhere off a ball screen. I don't know if they were trying to run drop coverage or what they were doing. And then, I mean, defensively, they help from the weak side of the floor all the time. The help is always coming from the weak side of the floor. Guys, you're always going to be giving up open looks off of that. They give up 67 points in the first half. Like,
wait, are you saying that help should not be coming from the weak side?
No. So, I know you disagree with this, but the shell drill, right? We go over it all the time. In the gaps, I can stunt, I can recover, and I got to know where my help coverage is. The Mavericks are always letting Tatum and Brown get to the rim and then sending help at the rim. One, that a lot of times you're fortunate, if not, the foul doesn't get called. And then when you help from the weak side of the floor, your defense is in rotation.
Well, the more you get the defense into rotations, the better you are, right? I mean, it's kind of like having more than one way to earn money. And when that happens, you need help managing it. And that's where Dave comes in. Dave is the banking app that's leveling the financial playing field. When you download Dave, you can get up to $500 in 5 minutes or less. No credit check, no late fees. And it's all part of Dave's Extra Cash account. Advance the money you need with no interest and then settle up later. Dave started to help people avoid predatory overdraft fees, and because of that, they've saved their customers over $2.5 billion since 2017. If you're feeling the pressure of an aggressive double team and need a little help with groceries, filling the tank, or paying your rent, let Dave help. Download the Dave app or visit dave.com/bball today and let them throw you the perfect assist. For terms and conditions, go to dave.com/legal. Eligibility criteria and instant transfer fees apply. Banking services provided by Evolve, member FDIC.
And then the other thing offensively, neither team did this really offensively, is when your man is in help, not cutting is death. When Luka and Kyrie would get doubled in certain isolation matchups, guys are standing on the perimeter. Do you realize that when you cut, maybe it's you that doesn't get a layup, but you occupy another defender, and now the three-point line's even more wide open. When everybody stands, you let the Celtics zone up and have one player guard two. So it was just like Luka and Kyrie were going into isolation. If they were help, no one was moving.
Right.
So the Celtics were able to help and then recover, and you don't make them pay it all.
Well, I thought what was interesting, we saw some supreme ball movement against Minnesota where they would double Luka and they would double Kyrie and they could slip little passes to the short roller, right? That's the one thing that the Celtics didn't seem to want to do. They were not going to give that short roll up and they weren't going to double him like that. So that kind of, I guess at that point, Jason Kidd threw his arms up and was like, I guess we don't know what else we can do aside from ISO. I agree. I think that was troubling. Even at the double ball screens, it took them until game 4 to remember, because you notice what happened. They bring Horford up and they would pre-switch and get Horford out of there. And then they finally would just say, wait a minute, if we screen with another player that Horford was guarding, we can actually get that look. But perhaps this is his evolution. He's going to eventually figure some of these things out and be better the next time if they ever get there. I don't know. But what do you guys think, Combo? Chip?
I want to ask you, AC, what did you like that Boston did over the course of this series?
Well, they were not in drop coverage much at all. I mean, outside of Porzingis, they were pretty much switching everything. So that was great. I just thought Dallas's defense was just atrocious. I'm not sure exactly, like Luka and Derek Lively were just getting blown off the ball. There was help coming from all over the place, and just guys were open constantly. So Dallas was switching everything too, which give them, I guess it's better than drop coverage.
It's better than drop.
They were switching everything. But the problem is they were so undisciplined guarding the ball, so much gambling on the ball. So
what are your guys' thoughts on helping one pass away, especially off a corner shooter? Because I saw some of that with Dallas today.
It depends on who you're helping off of, for sure.
Right. Yeah.
But if your feet are set, I'm just in that gap, and then I can recover back out. That the problem you saw them have to send help from the weak side, and their defense is in rotation constantly. Boston pretty much got open looks whenever they wanted to. Much whenever they wanted to.
But the thing is, if you want to help one pass away, like on this from the strong side, then it's a really easy quick pass and a really easy quick three, depending on who's over there for that shot. That's what you're worried about most of the time, unless it's a non-shooter. So I'd always prefer to force a 25, 30-foot pass and have a chance to rotate and actually, maybe get in front versus giving up that, unless it's like Tillman or whatever, that's what you have to worry about. And even if you want to be in like early help on the block, so the ball's on the top of the key, right? And my man's in the corner, or maybe it's shaded to the right side of the floor. My man's in the right corner. If I am on the block, like an early help to try and dissuade the drive, most good guards will just drive right at me, freeze me, and then again make that easy 15-foot pass to the corner for the three. That's what I get worried about. Like I can't picture a defense running it like that all the time.
Well, you tweeted out a play from game 2, I want to say, when Maxi Kleber helped from the corner. They skipped it to the corner. The problem is that Daniel, I don't remember if it was Gafford, it was one of the Mavs bigs, was forcing the ball handle to the middle of the floor, and Josh Green got in that gap. Maxi Kleber was helping on a play that was coming towards the paint. I'm only helping on the strong side corner when the ball's coming to the strong side corner, because I can get in that gap and recover. And I mean, look, you asked me what I liked about Boston. They got whatever they wanted. Every possession was pretty much open three, shot at the rim, something. And Dallas's defense, there was minimal to no resistance.
And the only resistance they gave was in game 4. And I know game 4 is an outlier, but it's the only resistance they gave is they played no middle defense in game 4. Right. They didn't give up the middle as much. You know what I mean? So they're forcing baseline. They're forcing them to to the strong side. They can help off that if they need to and recover. But like I didn't see them do that as much tonight. And credit Boston for being able to make adjustments to be able to get where they wanted to. But again, to your point, AC, like they didn't show much resistance tonight, the Dallas defense.
Yeah, well, once you double baseline, and there was a play that Tim Legler pointed out on SportsCenter after was it game 2? I think it was game 2 or 3, where they forced him baseline. One of the ball, maybe it was Drew Holiday, forced him baseline. So that double came. And then you had one rotation to the weak side corner. And PJ Washington's supposed to rotate to the weak side wing. Where was PJ Washington? Standing in the paint for absolutely no reason.
Right.
The rotation, it's not one rotation. It's 2, it's 3, it's 4. And Dallas seemed to always screw that up. And if you're forcing guys baseline and doubling from the weak side of the floor, you can't miss those rotations.
Right. And for what it's worth, like Xing out, right, where you have to be splitting the difference between the two players. And all you have to do is watch the ball. Wherever the ball goes, you go. And we see guys like Luka can fake those guys out.
You go to the next guy. What guy rotates from the wing down to the corner? You rotate from the top of the key to the wing. And round and round it goes. And on that one particular clip, Tim Legler didn't point it out, of course, PJ Washington was standing in the paint as opposed to rotating to the wing. And they hit a critical 3 off of that. It was just one-off memory I have.
Yeah, and it happens, by the way. But like when I've seen the best defensive teams, and I've been to a lot of NBA practices, the best defensive teams really have the best drills to teach that and drill it, and they do it every practice. Even if it's a 45-minute practice, so they're going to get out of there early, they're going to spend their 15, 20 minutes doing their rotation drills. I've seen this happen on a couple different teams. And I also know that other teams do not do this at all. And so I would not be surprised if Dallas does not have that regular, defensive rotation stuff. They might even say to themselves, well, it's the playoffs. We got to be going over film, whatever. But if it were me, I would be doing those basic, like what you're describing, the basic rotational drills every time to make sure that they're locked in for every.
That's what happens when you're forcing baseline. So if you're forcing baseline and you're doubling from that corner, you've got the rotations have to be there. So I don't know. And so why is PJ Washington standing in the paint? Why is he not ready to rotate? That happened multiple times. That was just one I remembered off memory from Tim Legler.
Yeah, no, it happens. So at any rate, but yeah, that all that makes sense. And so, but I think the bottom line is that the Celtics were better. They had more weapons to use, and they were utilizing them better. But I think my whole take on this was that if Kyrie Irving played average, then this would be a 6-game series minimum.
Yeah, but there's a problem, and this was in the first 2 games, especially. They're not that. Why is Kyrie Irving not being allowed to attack bigs on the perimeter? Why? So the Celtics are switching everything, so you're probably just going to be getting into ISOs anyways. So why is every time Al Horford's on the floor, why is Kyrie Irving ever going one-on-one with Derek White or Drew Holiday? Why?
Right. I think because Kyrie wanted to.
None.
Well, okay, so here we know that Luka was doing it, right? So I think what the answer with some weird twisted answer would be, well, it's Luka's job to force a switch and he gets to go at him. Kyrie is only a secondary guy who gets the kick out and does something later, right? So your question is, why didn't they, like Luka goes to the bench, Kyrie's got the main thing handling. You didn't feel like they were letting him go at Horford in those situations?
Not enough. Not enough. Anytime Al Horford's on the floor, he's 30. What are you going to do? Do you want Jason Tatum switching onto him? That's not a mismatch. You haven't created anything. The Celtics switch everything. Right. So unless Porzingis is in the game, so which they're in drop coverage, and you can destroy that. But I thought Jason Kidd did a terrible job putting in Kyrie Irving in spots to be successful. And then when they would go into ISO, they're spacing. You got guys standing on the wing. Just run 1-4 flat, and so that there's space to attack. Like Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving will get these switches, but you'd have guys standing on the wing. So you're just bringing a defender in the gaps who's just already standing there because he's guarding someone. Why are you not 1-4 flatting that? Like, I don't. Yeah,
I think also the first couple 2.5 games, the pre-switching for Horford to get him out of the pick and roll flummoxed them. I don't think they had they couldn't figure out what they're supposed to do.
You can just run a double drag and get out of it and be fine.
Like, and they got that in game 4.
They got it in game 4. Yeah, they got it in game 4, but they didn't do it tonight.
Well, and by the way, I think what we're also seeing. Oh, go ahead, Combo.
Kyrie also missed a lot of makeable shots at the end of the day.
Yeah, true.
Yeah,
like a lot of open threes, a lot of ISO situations that he usually makes shots. Like, I agree with you, they could have got to more mismatches for him, but he usually cooks everybody in ISOs, to be honest. He's one of the greatest ISO players ever. He just didn't play well over the course of the series.
Why is he ISOing against an all defensive guard as opposed to a 38-year-old center?
Did the shots look like shots that he shouldn't make though when he was getting them
There
all?
was a lot of times where Derek White and Drew Holiday are just great defensive guards, and they forced him to.
They were like deflecting the ball.
The other thing, and you did bring this up, is those mismatches like Drew Holiday and those mismatches are there also on the block, and they rarely went to that. I mean, rarely.
Yeah.
There was a segment in game 2, right in the second half. They clearly were going right down to Gafford, down low on Tatum, and they couldn't guard it. They those mismatches exist down low too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I hear you. No, I mean, all good points. I think that, Kid probably is going to shrug and be like, hey, well, Kyrie. But you're right. If Kyrie is struggling, then it's his job to unstruggle him. And certainly I was scratching my head every time I saw a multi-dribble ISO against Drew at the very least. The Drew Holiday ISO, those shouldn't be happening. And then you're right. If you were to look at every pairing of the pick and roll that Dallas was running, there were a number of times when, yes, they would scream with like Tatum's man, they'd switch, and now you're going to get Tatum. Like there was no reason to make that ball screen because there's no advantage you're going to gain, right? When they switch those three guys, Tatum, Brown, and whatever. So and I thought the other problem they had was if Luka took it up, Brown was going to press him in the backcourt and wear him out. And if he let somebody else take it up, like we saw once, PJ brings the ball up, dribbles a ball in place for six dribbles, and then gets a pick and roll and then turns it over. Kyrie didn't touch the ball. Luka didn't touch the ball. So it was like, what are you guys doing? Like, I get it. Save Luka, let him get a little rest, bring the ball up with somebody else, but then get it in his hands, or then get it in Kyrie's hands. Like they kind of were so disjointed tonight, at least, that it was like that. This is not a team that was prepared to win another.
And again, their off-ball movement was just non-existent. Non-existent. Like guys go, like when Kyrie and Luka, again, I'm repeating myself, but when they would get in ISOs and they would beat guys off the dribble, and sometimes it would be Drew Holiday and Derek White, no one was moving. Like there should be people diving to your man's and help.
Usually DJJ is pretty good at that. Usually DJJ is pretty good at that too.
Yeah, but he was not.
Yeah. There was, I think I remember from this entire series, there was like twice where you got some cutting action going when Luka and Kyrie would draw extra help. Twice.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Well, listen,
we saw one earlier in the game, this game, but it was off a weird situation where Kyrie found himself with the ball down near the dunker spot, actually, and said that there was two bodies coming at him, and he lobbed it up for Lively, who was cutting down the middle of the lane. But they didn't get much lob action at all this series, and it's because it's due to a lot to their lack of movement.
And how are you not ready to move? You have two of the best one-on-one offensive players in the league. You know that help is probably coming. I'm ready to move. I'm not ready to stand.
Yeah. I want to look a little bit more at that. I feel like they were not helping as much. I feel like they were effective enough with one defender on him and like with a little help that they could recover. I got to look a little more like tonight at least, but I'm not even sure tonight's even worth going through that much, honestly. Like from the beginning, right? It just was like they just weren't ready to play, I guess. I'm not really sure. Or is this some conspiracy where they just had to get it to 5 games?
I'm sorry. There was a specific moment. I think it was Kyrie Irving. Sam Hauser literally had his back turned to PJ Washington, his back turned, not paying attention. And PJ Washington stood on the wing. If he had cut, that's either a wide open layup or Drew Holiday looked like he was ready to step up and help. Now the corner's wide open, or God forbid, both players cut and that's a layup. Like it was just standing around.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they're talking about spacing and you want to spot up and you got to stay there because they're going to draw and then drive and kick. That could happen. That's what's in his mind. But I agree there needs to be a little bit more freedom to be able to find those. But
you have to understand, and I know you guys want me to you move on, but you have to understand, because I get in arguments with people all the time about this. You cutting either gives us a dunk or it opens up the perimeter even more, because in that certain situation, Drew Holiday would have taken PJ Washington on the cut. So now the corner is wide open. You occupy a defender with a cut. You let one player guard 2 when everyone's standing on the perimeter.
Good points. Good points. Well, listen, AC, we have to bring Chris on and get some other super chats, but I appreciate you coming on and keep up the grind, man.
Yeah. Thank you.
It's nice to meet you, brother.
Yeah.
What do we call you? Do we call you AC? Do we call you Donald? What do we call you?
Call me either.
Okay.
I was gonna say, do we call you just by your first name, Awful? But that would have been a terrible joke. So I'm sorry, bro.
I'm getting ready to look at film. Thank you for having me on.
Awesome, man. Hey,
You
thanks for
got it.
coming
Yeah,
on,
keep it
brother.
up
Nice
and,
to meet you.
Yeah, we'll do it again.
All right, cool.